Absolutely. And today, Eki and I are not in studio alone. We are joined by the amazing Chala Rebecca Mubiru. She's a counselor, very well versed in the area of marriage. And so we are in safe hands. We are in safe hands. Eki, first keep your porridge today.
I keep my porridge.
You
I
have
shut
milk
I
teeth
shut
here.
her mouth.
Yes, milk teeth. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Madam. And just to kick off this conversation, how do we really define infidelity? Because, there is a general definition of it being, doing something sexual outside
Cheating.
of, cheating,
Just
basically.
cheating on your wife or
But
husband.
we live in a world today where things are very blood. There's freedom of this and that, and somebody will come and, but what exactly is infidelity? Some will say, but we just texted. Some will say, but it was just a kiss.
What just sent words?
Are there classifications of infidelity? What is infidelity?
Thank you very much. Infidelity is being unfaithful to your spouse. We said we're talking about spouses here.
Yeah.
Where there's a husband who is a man and a wife who is a woman.
Yes.
Yeah. So when
You are infidelity, but you are just dating.
Anyway. So once you're unfaithful to your spouse, then that is infidelity.
Okay.
Now we need to understand that unfaithfulness is not only physical. It is emotional. So when you talk about the text, emotionally, the emotions that you're attaching to that text, you're being unfaithful to your spouse. For as long as you're not texting whatever you're texting that is supposed to be to someone with whom you have romantic relationships, who is supposed to be your spouse, as long as you're texting that kind of context to another person, you're being unfaithful. As long as you just kissed on the lips with someone who is not your spouse, you know what people call flirting, and I just sent a nice message.
Just
That
emojis.
Now that emoji, what message is it carrying? And would you be confident if your spouse found out that you're sending that emoji or that text? As long as your conscience is saying your conscience is saying, I don't want Robert to find out, Robert is my husband, I don't want Robert to find out that I'm sending this to X, then you're being unfaithful. So you're emotionally and physically unfaithful. It's not only the physical, the sexual act that makes one be an infidel. No. As long as you're doing something that is meant to be between a romantic relationship with someone outside the relationship, then you're practicing infidelity.
You are a candidate. Wow.
You're an infidel.
And
yes, an infidel.
now when we cross the other side, our brothers and our sisters may say that one sounds a little different. But when we've categorized conversations on phone or even chatting, but behavior around these individuals. What are some of the things that may lead to such?
You see, human beings were emotional, and we deal a lot with feelings. Yeah. So for as long as someone feels I am not loved as I should be loved, so maybe someone else can love me better. Well, as long as I feel that some other man can love me better than Robert is loving me, i.e. Robert is not loving me enough, he's ignoring me, he basically doesn't understand Tantegi, that they can't come out openly and say X, they'll say we just don't understand each other anymore. So as long as you have such feelings, you feel unappreciated, you feel unnoticed by your spouse, as long as those things come within your thoughts, then you're going to carry that unsatisfaction to someone else, and that is infidelity. So those are the things that bring it about. You're feeling feeling,
Yeah.
So we can say when you feel like you're not valued, you feel like you're not appreciated,
Right.
you feel you're not recognized by your spouse.
If that initial spark maybe that you had when you had just met or when you got married isn't there anymore, you end up trying to
Does it
seek
stay there
it
for-
again.
that spark that
It
she's
can
talking
stay.
about.
You people, marriage
Has
is
to-
work. You work at
Hey,
it.
you-
Even before
Haven't
you
you
got
seen
married,
Eki?
you used to work at it, didn't you?
I mean,
Yes,
just
yes.
see people who light cigars, they have to keep doing like this to keep it alive. It's work.
Marriage is work, my
Yeah.
friend. Yeah.
I know. Yes. Now, we've given the value, no appreciation, no recognition. Now, I for somebody, I'd like to move from, because that is before. You know, we are explaining the pre. I would like for us to then have a conversation around it has happened or it is happening. What should one do, or how does one?
Even just before we get to what a person does
Yeah.
after infidelity has occurred, are there ways or signs that someone can look out for to see that maybe infidelity is occurring? Are there like little red flags? Are there signs that a person can look out for?
Yes, there are signs that you can look out for, and it's interesting. It's not even interesting. It's absurd how they cripple in. You know, when we talk of addictions, people think about alcohol, people think about drugs, but guys, ladies, by guys I mean girls and boys, they get addicted to work. And many a times, if you're not working in isolation, that means you're working with other people around you. And if it's someone of the opposite sex, and you know, you're spending so much time with Rebecca, and you know, she seems to understand you, she seems to help you work better, and your workload, you know, you enjoy being at work more than you enjoy being at home. Yes, the workload may be there, but you need to split up. So addictions, you know, someone works so hard and is in the space of someone else for a long time. For men, they say, you know, you guys are moved by sight, yeah? So you're seeing Becky, you know, Becky's putting on well, quote unquote. You're noticing, you know, she's revealing a few things here and there. And then Becky on the other side is, you know, she comes in and she's sad, and you're noticing that she's sad, and they're saying, oh, what's the problem? So he's looking and saying, I like what I see. And you're feeling, look, when I left home, Robert couldn't even notice that I'm sad, but now Eki is noticing that I'm sad, so something starts brewing. You want to be in each other's space, and the longer you stay in each other's space, the more attracted you become to one another. I mean, romantically attracted you get, and then before long, it's now gone beyond the just seeing and just feeling, and now it's now just a text, it's now just a kiss.
Yes.
You know, it's just a cup of coffee, a lunch date, and before you know it, it's a sexual relationship that's going on. So addictions is what I was trying to understand, especially work addictions, which we all overlook.
Yes.
Many people work so hard and they go back home tired, quote unquote, of I don't want anything to do with anyone. Yet when I'm at work, I can spend a few minutes out. You know, it doesn't take a night, it doesn't take a day for someone to practice infidelity. Even at this time, you can leave the station and go
and you sort yourselves
out and you come back. And you
that
know,
is how dangerous it is.
Yeah, that's how dangerous it is. And because you work together, it seems normal to be like that.
Right.
Yeah, I have heard of incidences of where people drop off their kids at school, and you know, parent of Eki goes away with parent of Rebecca, you know, and they leave the car in the parking lot.
Nice.
This is happening in Kampala. Don't be deceived. Yeah, so it is happening, and many people are hiding behind the gist of work, which is really, really dangerous. So yes, addictions are signs of infidelity, but especially the work.
Wow.
Another big problem is porn. If you get addicted to porn, and then your spouse cannot do what
The expectations that you
yeah,
get.
so you're saying, let me try out something else. Then you see a figure that looks like the one you watched in porn, and you're like, I think that works out for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Behind
It's too interesting.
It's quite
But
yeah.
it's quite sad that these things are actually occurring just under our noses. And thank you so much, Madam Rebecca Mubiru, for passing by. This is actually a conversation that needs to be had. It's very sugar-coated in societies. People are now even have words for infidelity, and they have creeping. They have little slangs. Nobody wants to call a spade a spade. And just before we jump back into the conversation, we have a message here on WhatsApp. Somebody says, "Good morning, crew. Well done indeed. Proximity and similarities tend to promote infidelity, particularly workplace. Thank you, Counselor. May God help us. Love you guys. Good day." This is from Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And just as we get into the last stretch of this conversation, with what we have found out today, how best can, first of all, are there ways that infidelity can be curbed or nipped in the bud before it actually occurs? And then we shall maybe dive into, after it has occurred, how does a couple proceed?
Thank you. Like I said, we're human beings. And infidelity doesn't happen without human beings. Let us be honest.
Yes.
So, as an individual, what is your value system? Why did you walk into this relationship?
Okay.
What are the benchmarks of this relationship? So you as an individual, you have to understand and say, look, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Once you have decided what you're going to work with, i.e. one spouse, not multiple spouses. Yeah. You as an individual, don't look at the other party. You, what is your contribution towards this? So how do you want this to work? Do you want it to work with many partners? My husband always tells our daughters, we have 4 daughters, and he says, look, you need to keep yourselves pure. And then he asks, how would you feel if you got married to someone who's been sleeping around, who's been flirting around? And they're like, no. And so it's like, if you don't like it, then do not do it. So that, even you keep yourself for the other party also. So as an individual, you have to make a standard. You have to make a baseline of below this, it is not us. And that is what can help you be prevented from it. We all have emotions, we all have feelings. I can see someone and say, that's a good-looking guy.
Yes.
But so what about it? I mean, we can't hide that good-looking people are there. They are there, So I can't pretend that there's no man who looks better than Robert or who looks as good as Robert. They are there. But what do I do with that information? Do I go ahead and try to befriend this person to even take up Robert's place? So as an individual, I have work to do. You have work to do. Yeah. So that work that I have to do and you have to do is what may prevent.
Okay.
Okay. Now we have dealt
values.
with prevention.
Is there anything apart from the values and in preventing? Are there things we can do? Because I know that we're human. We see things. We see a trend, and we notice a pack. It's like, this one has gone here. Is there a way we can? What are some other things apart from, you say, yes, I have my values, but now how then? Are there other things?
Especially even as the church, because usually when people get married, the church just sends them off. Now they have the certificate and the rings.
Okay.
Yeah, like I talked about addictions, you other than work, there are many other things you can get addicted to. You can get addicted to food, by the way. You can get addicted to gossip. There are many other addictions.
Gambling.
So gambling, when you see that you're spending so much time beyond what you could spend. I mean, there's a reason why they said work starts at 8 and ends at 5. So if you're working longer than that, you're getting addicted. So, addictions, you need to watch out for the things that take up your time. Then the excessive use of that net, There was a time when, when we were much younger, there was a time when the net was only in the office, but now it's in our bedrooms. Yeah. Everywhere. It's in the car. It's on the go. You have it everywhere. So how much time are you spending on the internet? That aside, what are you spending your time on the internet? What is it that you're looking at What is it that is taking up your valuable time that you'd be spending with a spouse? You know, so excessive use of the internet in either way that you see it. I mean, you're in bed and
both of you are on phone.
Both of you are on phone, and you know everyone is giggling the other side, talking to other people. Yet you're together, physically you're together, but emotionally you're so detached.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I get perplexed when I wake up in the morning. I turn off my data at a certain time in the night. I turn it off, especially when I know that everyone of my household is in the house. Really, Eki, you can wait. Becky, you can wait. It can wait until tomorrow morning. So as long as my inner circle are in, I'll turn off my data. But I get amazed when I open up my data in the morning, maybe at 9, and then I find messages from married men and women
11,
that we are
12.
sending at 2 a.m. I'm thinking, boss, what are you doing sending me messages at 2 a.m.? You know, you're supposed to be sleeping. Okay, at least be with your spouse. For the least, be with your spouse. So that excessive time on the internet, you know, we really need to control ourselves. You're the one who switches on your phone. You're the one who buys the data. So if you can do these things, then you can also turn them off. You know,
That's
so where is your value? Where do you place yourself? Where do you place your spouse in your life? So excessive time on the internet, you know, watch out. Have a limit, really.
Yeah.
You can have a limit. And the limit is set by you. Then there is boredom, you know. You're so bored. You're with this person and then
you don't do the things you used to do.
You're bored basically, and you're so waiting for the other person to come up with a thing to do. Really, you can also be creative. Yeah, I mean, I love basketball, so I'll know who is playing what. I mean, now I'm supporting the Warriors and I'm not afraid about it.
I'm still on team
Expendables.
the Lakers, yeah.
It's okay, but you see, there's something that you have to put on the table. I mean, we met on a basketball court. I cannot now say that I don't want basketball anymore. When we met, it was the Bulls. I don't support the Bulls anymore, whatever they are doing. I was actually supporting Jordan, not even the Bulls. But anyway, that besides, what is it that you're doing? I mean, pack up your marriage. It can't. That boredom creates a lot of things. I mean, if Bob finds someone who understands basketball and they're talking and you know, and I have no input at all, then I'm thinking,
or you don't even make an effort to
exactly
know the name of the coach.
You know, I'm not into soccer, but I try to find out. Bob supports Man U.
but make sure you give him a hug.
It's okay. I know what is going on, so that when he's talking about it, I'm not left out.
Yes.
He is an engineer. I know about, you know, a little about LV cables, navigated a little, so that I am not left out. Yeah. Then it becomes, you know, boring to talk to me because I'm not in sync with what's going on. So
But
that
then
boredom has
also
to be dealt
on
with.
his part, he has to do the same for you.
That's so
that,
true.
yes.
But I am telling you, in marriage, do not look at what the other person has to do and what they are not doing. Do your part.
Okay.
Because every time you look the other side, you're not doing your part. You know those people who say, I wish Bob was here to listen to this sermon. There's a reason why God didn't let him come to listen to that sermon.
I have some questions here for our guest.
And the counselor is in the house. So we have somebody here saying, hello guys, thanks for the show. Mbubanange, even maids. Banange, that's where you've stopped that.
Maids have become a thorn, in fact, a sword in the flesh.
But also we have someone saying, good morning, Eki and Che, thanks for the topic on infidelity. Kindly comment on a partner being unfaithful because he says he doesn't feel as intimate as he used to be with his spouse. Also them saying that they developed a coldness due to misunderstandings and slowly got drawn into someone else who was their friend and got sexually involved with her and fell for them. Mubiru will be addressing that in a bit. And also we have somebody here saying, thanks for the show, but now what happens when the communication reduces or stops between the two people in the relationship? Counselor, help the people.
Thank you. We're all a work in progress. I'm also learning how to deal with these things. We talked about maids. Well, they just said maids, and it was just stopped there.
I think it's a personal.
We need to appreciate that maids are human beings, for starters. we need to appreciate that maids are just helpers. So this is your package. You don't, load it over the maid. And then you also need to identify what space is yours.
Okay.
You need to identify what space is yours. Don't let the maid do everything for you. She is helping or he is just helping. So you need to take a position. Those things of being at the dining table and you say, I mean, that's your responsibility. But now you're showing your spouse that you know when it comes to the food we eat here, she is responsible. I am no longer responsible. You need to take up your position. There are certain things that you need to do as the woman in the house. So this maid is helping. Those things of the maid laying your bed, the maid washing your
underwear.
And
everything.
The maid does everything. You're telling them, look, feed the baby, wash the baby, do everything for the baby. And then you get to church and the baby has a torn panty and you're asking the maid, how come this child came with a torn panty? Whose responsibility is that? So when you're saying maids, first of all, they're human beings. They have blood like you. And they're taking good care of themselves and your home as well. So do some work.
Okay.
Unfaithful partner, developing coldness. You see, these things, developing a sexual relationship with the other person, you can see that this is a trail of things happening. Yeah. The person becomes cold. The person doesn't suddenly become cold because there was a time when you were hot. Then you become less hot, you become cold, then you become very cold.
Frozen.
Now, by the time they get to frozen, they are getting the heat from somewhere else. So what happened? What was the cause of this? And like I said before, what was your contribution to that cause? I mean, I want to believe that it's a lady who sent this in and men are taken by sight. So what aren't you doing now? There was a WhatsApp that was going around that these dresses, over every woman has one. Those things that run from
the
So, I mean, when you're with your spouse, what is it that you're doing? The things of staying at home, this time that people have been at home, and you bathe at 2, and then your hair is not done, you don't have Vaseline on you. Quick gamba, you're just, there's nothing interesting about you. Yeah. So what has caused this coldness to that point that now they're finding interest elsewhere? Maybe it's your tongue. Maybe you every time he walks in, there's something wrong he has done. There was a time when my husband kept on saying, "No, what have I done wrong?" Because every time Robert came in, there was something wrong. I felt there was something wrong. Yes, there may be something wrong, but how do I package it? Yeah. So how did we get there, and what was your contribution? I'll still go back to that, because it takes two to tango. This is a person who met you and was excited about you, or who you met and you were excited about, and now something is going down the drain. What aren't you doing that you used to do? Okay, even if you used to do it, how can you do it better?
Okay.
Yeah. Then it comes to communication. Communication is receiving and sending messages. If Robert keeps quiet and I keep quiet, and then I say there's a broken communication track, I mean, really, what am I doing about it? How am I communicating? Then you say, for me, like the married say, tuli mulusirika, twagenze na mugongo mulusirika. You could be quiet when you're so loud. You're quiet, but you're banging doors.
Your body language
you're
is
quiet,
loud
but
also.
your body language is so loud.
It's called being passive-aggressive. Banging plates.
Those nice terms, You abuse the kids, you're shouting at everyone, you're abusing the maid, everyone, everyone is hurrying, but you're saying, Nze Robert namusirikirira sikyamunyega, whatever, wamukowa, but you're still in his space and he's still in your space. So yes, there is a broken relationship. Dig back, what caused the break of the communication, until you go and deal with what brought it. Because even if you deal with the symptoms, we're going to go back, because we don't know where the blockage started. We don't know where the leakage was. So until we block the leakage, these other things that we're doing, we're just sanitizing it. Yeah. So we need to go back and find out what broke the communication. And don't look for what broke the communication from Robert's point of view. look for what broke the communication from Rebecca's point of view.
Yes.
What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And I'm not talking about self-blame. When you identify that, what are you doing about it? Not self-blame of era me, I'm the one in the wrong. No, we all make mistakes. But when you fall, what happens? Do you wallow in the mud, or do you get up and, dust it off and move on, and then avoid that hole next time you see it coming? You're like, I know there's a pothole there, and if I fall in it, my shocks are going to break and I'm going to spend. Yeah.
Wow. And well, we have a few minutes to go, but as we wrap this up, infidelity has happened, cheating has happened. What next?
There are two people in the relationship, and during these two people in the relationship, there's a third party or a fourth or a fifth party to it, which has caused now the violation of the relationship. So we need to identify on which side of infidelity are you. Are you the one who has done it? Are you the one who is in pain, the one who has been betrayed? Or are you the one who is fueling it?
Okay.
Yeah.
In that point, let's just take this caller and then welcome. Good morning.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
hello. This is Mr. Mubiru. Yes, please. We are here suffering on a cold morning, moreover. She's still here in studio. Yes, Miss. Yes.
Mr. Mubiru, thank you so much.
Why did you even pick?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That's what they call support.
Oh,
I have learned. Yes, I will call you next time. We are hosting my wife. Obviously, but yes, you need to know which side are you on. Are you the victim? Are you the perpetrator?
Are you an enabler?
Those nice English words that you all use.
Yeah.
So you need to identify your position in this saga.
Yes.
Now, when you identify what your position is, you need to really be honest with yourself. If you're going to deal with it, you're not going to... Finger pointing is not going to help us. Because the moment you finger point anything to an individual, what they do is build up their defense mechanism. So that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a solution to bring this to an end. And I'm not saying that bring all the three together and say, you did wrong. Also you, say sorry to this one. Even you, no, that's not it, because it could just be lip service.
Yeah.
Every individual needs to identify what their contribution was towards this. Yeah? Because you have cheated on someone, you did not wake up suddenly to start this thing. And now I'm going to talk from the Christian perspective. We are all tempted. But what do you do when you are tempted? Do you say, it is okay, Manange, me, I was tempted, there was nothing I could do? That mere statement of there's nothing I could do shows me that, even shows you. Every time you say, what could I do? There was nothing I could do. That is an indication that actually you had an option.
You had everything.
You had an option.
You just chose not to take
You
it.
chose
You
do
chose
nothing.
to blind yourself.
Yeah, you chose
You chose
to
to
go the
do
easy
nothing.
way, or the way that satisfies you. Yeah.
Okay.
And don't be deceived. Betrayal is intentional. You cannot say I didn't know. You know that what you're doing is wrong. I know. When I want to irritate Robert, I know exactly what to do. I know, because I've been around him. We're going to make 25 years in marriage this year. That's besides the point. Receive, sister. Eki has 24 to catch up.
This one still has
We
been
shall
updated.
wait.
Chewing meat here.
Yeah, it is intentional. Don't be deceived that I didn't know, because it doesn't happen. You people, infidelity is not a one-night stand. No. it is something
A
that is, it's a process.
You have
You have-
process by process.
you have built it
yes,
up.
You've preconceived it in your
Yes.
mind. You've thought
So
about
you
it.
know that you know. I mean, as Christians, we know Judas didn't just wake up. He went and agreed with those guys.
That's
They agreed on the
premeditated.
price.
Yeah.
Then he comes. He said, "This is what I'm going to do."
Mm.
Betrayal is not. It's not sudden. It's
Don't just
intentional.
trip
It's
and fall.
no.
So you're actually saying that for someone to reach those points of actually acting out, they start by thinking about it or toying with the idea,
Yes.
playing around with the idea.
And when we say idea, we are covering up.
Okay.
Mm.
They
With
see
the-
this person.
Yeah.
I mean, we all meet men and women.
Mm.
Even at workplace, we meet men and women. It doesn't mean that we get attracted to all of them,
Yes.
but you specifically spend some time. You zero down on this particular one. So what is it that is making you zero down on this particular one?
Mm-hmm.
What is it indeed? And this needs to be done. Let's zero in on this one.
There's a message here. Yeah, your love and tofu recommended by the government. Big up Mr. Mubiru, Auntie
I know you.
Who's
that?
Cholera, God bless. There's a listener called Anyodi.
That's Liza Nyodi.
That is
Eh.
really unusual.
Shirano tells me that thing. Atakutia kuentia. Get my hand. Sorry about my hand.
Love through God's eyes. Power 104.1 FM is all about love. We're encouraging you to love through God's eyes. But now you can Ayoba everything with Ayoba, the all-in-one app that lets you play, chat, call, share, and listen to Ziki. You can now send and receive some money with Momo for free to your Ayoba friends and contacts. Download the Ayoba app on Google Store or App Store, and Ayoba at no cost on MTN everywhere you go.
And speaking of Through God's Eyes, we here at Power FM are inviting you to celebrate Love Week 2022 by sharing your personal love story with us. Your story is going to answer just one simple question. How did you meet your spouse?
In this weather,
Okay,
night
I
at
see you wanting
Serena.
to, you don't qualify, you're an employee. Please don't be
I don't
excited.
qualify.
As
Mrs.
we met
Sister.
on the basketball court, does it work?
Hey, you have to write
Record
there.
the video and let us know.
Record and send.
Now, all you have
When
to
we
do...
met, there were no videos.
Now they are there. We want to know. And to win, all you have to do is just create a 1-minute video featuring you and your spouse recounting the details of that memorable day. Post your video on Facebook, Twitter, or
Details.
Instagram. Tag us Power FM Uganda using the hashtags PFM Love Week 22 and Through God's Eyes. And if your video gets enough views, likes, shares, and comments, you do stand a chance to win an exclusive night for two at the Kampala Serena Hotel, complete with a romantic dinner. It's the perfect opportunity for a special treat for you and your sweetheart. Hey, polish your storytelling skills. Come and tell us. I learned recently that it's called a meet cute. Yeah, in movies when the girl is, let's say, walking and the man is holding
Okay,
coffee and they
stop it.
bump that moment. It's
meet
an
cute.
actual English phrase. It's called a meet
Meet
cute.
All right.
Can you imagine? I rolled my eyes so much. It's called a meet cute.
Yeah.
Yes, but please, let's
So there was a meet cute at the basketball court.
Yes.
I don't think we can relive it, because 30 years ago we could break a bone or two.
I know. But if you have just joined us, we have the lovely Mrs. Mubiru, Rebecca, who is a counselor psychologist, and we're talking about infidelity. And we were just wrapping up. There's so many messages coming in. We may not be able to attend to all. Anyodi, we see your message. The one who doesn't fear you is the one I fear. Indeed. So, Mrs. Mubiru, you were
Yes.
wrapping up.
Yes, I was wrapping up and I was saying that, we all get tempted, but what do you do when you're tempted? Do you stay there and say, well, woe unto me, or do you realize what your mistake is? Now, it is important to realize what your mistake is, and you need to be remorseful. That deep regret for what did I do wrong. Now, I'm talking in our sphere as saved people. When you do something wrong, that regret, and you go to God and say, Mukama sasira, sasira obutali butuukirivu bwange,
Yes.
you go and my filth. And that's the same way you're going to go to your spouse and say, Robert, just have mercy upon me, Robert. Yes, I did wrong. And I need, first of all, your forgiveness. Now, you don't get your forgiveness, you don't ask for forgiveness, and then you do your 360, and then go back and, so then that means you are not remorseful at all. For you to work out this thing, you need to work with your partner. Don't be deceived. You have to work with your partner, because you're the two people in this relationship that are affected the most. The rest of us, the children and what have you, yes, we get affected by the byproducts of your infidelity, but the most affected people are the spouse, you and your spouse. So you need to work with your partner. Now, as you work with your partner, you don't die in your movie. You need to share, but you have to be careful who you're sharing this with. Tuliva locally, and many a times people share their stuff and then they become quote-unquote prayer items. But you're in this cell group and you're saying, Mubiru. Now the other people are going to package it differently and take it away. So you need to be very careful who you're sharing with. And the point of you sharing is to develop an accountability partner.
Yes.
Yeah. This accountability partner who needs to know where I'm at, on the 9th, where was Rebecca at 8 a.m. That kind of knowing. I remember one time when Pastor Chaz shared something long time ago about him being an accountability partner to someone, and the Lord woke him up at 3 a.m. and asked him to call this guy, and was like, Mokama, it's 3 a.m. and he actually got up because they had taken up the accountability responsibility and called this guy. And lo and behold, this guy was at Speak and was going to actually purchase a prostitute. And when Pastor Chaze called him, that was his turnaround point, because Chaze asked him, where are you? And that is all this guy needed at that material time. So you need such accountability partners who are open to you, who will tell you, yes, Robert did wrong, but Rebecca, now we work with H-Jam. And that does not come between your relationship with that person. So we all need such people in our lives. So you need to get to a point that you need to lay yourself bare. You need to know all your passwords. You need to know all these things, put them open. You should be able to, Robert should be able to open my phone. I should be able to open Robert's phone. And this is no secret. For us, even our daughters know our passwords. I'll forget my password and I'll go like, Vanange Sarah, pose the password here, Gmail, what is it? And she will know. Now that way, I have a license to also have access to theirs. But coming back to the couple, you need to be that open. I find it strange that couples keep saying, no, my phone is my phone. Exactly. And then you say, Robert hasn't shared his with mine, so I'm not going to share mine with his. Now, two wrongs don't make a right. Be the mature one in this thing, and be the one. You put your things there such that there's no gray area in your life. But every time you feel that, this is Micah thing, this is Micah thing, I am not, he doesn't need to know, she doesn't need to know, you're giving the devil a foothold to do it. Yeah. So you, to whom the infidelity has been, to whom your partner has been faithful, forgiveness is key. It is painful. It is all these things. But when this person is remorseful and you don't forgive them, you're basically telling them that you go back to where you've come from. And these accountability parties should be able to walk with you the forgiveness journey. You should be able to forgive. I keep telling people, look, I am not righteous, so you are also not righteous. I give you an opportunity to err. Allow people to make mistakes, because sometimes we learn from our mistakes. Some couples have actually come out a lot stronger after the infidelity than they were before. Others have broken up. Really, things go whichever way depending on the personalities of the people and the willingness of the people to acknowledge their contribution to the fault and to forgive.
Wow.
Powerful.
We shall not add anything to that, but we shall say thank you very much, Mrs. Mubiru.
Thank you too.
For the wise words of counsel.
Indeed.
And you also talk to Mr. Mubiru, you will receive the wise words of counsel. I'm telling you, this is just wisdom flowing. and we're blessed to have you, and we thank you.
Thank you.
for
Glory
giving
to
us your
God.
time.
Thank you too for also trusting me with
Amen.
your space and air.
Hey, I mean.